Frankenstein, Chapter 3. Sounds more beautiful than the singing of birds awakened him. But where were they coming from? Not from outside. They were coming from the wall. There was a tiny hole in one wall of the hut. The monster sat up and looked through it. Now he could see right into the other house. An old man was sitting inside playing a guitar. The sounds were so sweet, they made the monster cry. After a while, a young woman came into the room. She brought the old man a plate of food. "Did you take anything for yourself, Agatha?" the old man asked. "Oh, yes," said his daughter. "I have a whole plateful." But this was not true, for she had taken nothing. The old man didn't know that because he was blind. Soon the door opened. A young man came into the house carrying wood for the fire. The young woman brought him a plate of food. There wasn't much on it. "Where is your supper?" he asked his sister. "Oh," she pretended with a laugh, "I just ate with father." "I don't believe you," the young man whispered. "There is enough for both of us," and he gave her half his food. "Let's not be unhappy, children," said the old man. "The house is warm, and you are strong, and we have each other." Soon everyone was laughing and talking. Then the old man started to play his guitar again, and all three of them sang. My monster listened and listened. What did all those sounds mean? How he wished he could tell. Yet there was one thing he did know, though he did not know words for it. He knew that all the people in that house loved one another, and they belonged together. The monster decided to stay near them. He would make them his own family. But of course, they must not know it. They might hurt him and chase him away as the others had done. No, they must not see him, but he could see them. So, day after day, he sat there in his little hut, and hour after hour he watched his new family through the hole in the wall. In the daytime, he watched the daughter working in the house and the old man playing the guitar. In the evening, he listened to them singing and talking. He saw them hug and kiss each other. How he wanted to do that. He was starting to learn things too. What father meant, and sister, and brother. That the woman's name was Agatha, and her brother's name was Felix. He learned the words fire, and wood, and food, and sleep. Soon he was learning more and more words, and he was learning other things as well. How people helped one another, and what they thought about, and how sad his friends were because they had become so poor. For now the air was getting colder. Their cow no longer gave milk, and the food they had saved from their garden was almost gone. At night, when they were fast asleep, the monster would sneak out of his hut. Then he would go off to look for berries and nuts. Very few were left. But he saved most of them for Agatha and Felix and for their father. In the morning, they would find something to eat lying on their doorstep, and they would wonder how the food got there. Months passed. Little by little, my monster taught himself to speak. He wanted to talk as well as they did. If only I can sound like them, he thought. Maybe they will like me and let me stay. The creature still did not know why people were afraid of him. But then, one moonlit night, he came across a pond. He stared into it and saw a face. It was like none he had ever seen before. Not like any of those he loved. Not like any animal either. It was horrible. It made him afraid, and he hated it. And now it was looking back at him as if it wanted to kill him. Quickly, he picked up a large rock and threw it at the face in the pond. This creature had a rock too. Smash! The face was gone. But then it came back. He smashed it again and again. Each time it returned and did the same things he did. Then all of a sudden he knew the truth. He was the face. He was a monster. But why? Where did he come from? Who was his family? What kind of being was he? He did not know, and he had to find out. Then he remembered something about the jacket he wore, the one that had been thrown at him. There was a notebook in one of the pockets. Perhaps what was written in it would tell him the truth about himself. The monster had often watched Felix and Agatha reading aloud to their father, but he did not know how to do it. He had to learn to read, but how? For many weeks he tried to teach himself, but it was no use. No use at all. But then, one day, Felix brought a young boy to the house. He was the son of a nearby farmer. Felix was going to teach the boy to read. Here was my creature's chance. Every day, the monster studied with the boy. Of course, the boy and Felix did not know it. The monster worked very, very hard, and soon he was able to read. At last, he took the notebook from the jacket pocket. He sat down in the moonlight and read the whole thing. Everything was in it, all the work that had been done to make him. Now, at last, he knew. The book fell from his hands. His face was covered with tears. "I have no father and no mother," he cried. "I am not an animal or a human. I am a thing of the graveyards. I was made to be hated. I hate myself." For many days and many nights he lay in his hut. He did not go out, even to find food. He no longer watched the family through the wall. He wanted to die. But as he lay there, he began to think about the family. They were such kind and loving people. Perhaps they would not look at his face, but into his heart. And the old man was blind. He would never have to look at the monster at all. He decided to speak to the old man first. If only the old man will like me, thought my creature, then perhaps there is still a chance. Still a chance for me to live and be happy like everyone else. One day, when the father was all alone, there was a knocking at the door. "Come in," said the old man. "Thank you," answered the monster, and he went inside. "My name is Frankenstein," he said, "and I am looking for 3 friends." "Who are they?" asked the old man. "The kindest people in all the world, but alas, they do not know me, and I am not like anyone else." "You say they are kind," replied the old man. "Then it will not matter to them that you are different. But others have treated me so badly that I am afraid." "Do not be," said the old man, "for I can tell that you are good, and I will help you all I can. Who are these people whom you seek?" The monster fell on his knees and kissed the old man's hands. "It is you," he cried, "you and Felix and Agatha whom I love." Just then the cottage door opened. It was the son and daughter. The creature turned to them. He wanted to say, "Please don't be afraid of me. I would die for you." But it was too late, for Agatha looked at him, then fell to the floor. Felix grabbed an axe that was hanging on the wall. He swung it with all his might. The axe went into the monster's body. His bones cracked and he howled in pain. But the creature got up. He pulled the axe out of his body. He raised it high over the young man's head. "Don't hurt us! Don't hurt us!" the blind man cried out. My monster stopped. He took the axe in both hands and snapped it in half. Now it was as broken as his heart. He threw down the pieces and rushed out of the cottage. "They tried to kill me," he screamed as he ran. "Those whom I love, the very ones I would have died for. They all hate me. Oh, why was I ever made? Why am I alive?" A look of anger came over his face. It was a look that would make the mountains shake in fear. "Because of Victor Frankenstein," he cried. It was then that the hatred grew into my creature's heart, a hatred that would be the cause of all the horrors I am about to tell.